So, quick show of hands. How many people here in the audience work in a cubicle or in an office? A fair amount. How many people love working in their cubicle or their office? 3. Fantastic. Maybe your cube or office looks something like this. We are inherently a nesting culture. We territorialize, we take over space to make it our own. Our pride and joy, our vacation pictures, kids' pictures, dead plants, they all live here in the cubicle or your office. What if I were to tell you that in about 5 or 10 years, your cubicle, desk, or 10 by 12 office will be gone forever? What if I were to tell you that in the future, the modern workplace will have nothing to do, or very little to do, with who you are and where you work, but it will have everything to do with how you work? I know this because my passion at CBT Architects is about transforming, evolving, and repositioning buildings to make them current in the marketplace. Whether they are macro global economic trends, whether they are local market conditions, whether there's an evolution or transformation through technology, or whether it's simply the generational shift, who you're sitting next to changes. Building owners want to bring in the best tenants. Companies want to always hire the brightest and best. We have to evolve. Now, when I was 15, I grew up with my uncle and my aunt and my mom, and when I was 15, I remember him coming home and being all excited and telling me, he's like, hey, remember that promotion, that raise? I got it. I'm the VP of R&D, and I got the corner office. Well, I was like, wow, I want the corner office. What a spectacular place. It's the medal, the prize, the grand award. I can just sit there in the office, I can putt and shut the door, hold all my calls. Sounds fantastic, right? Sure. Feel like working alone. The future of the modern workplace is going to have to evolve, and we're going to have to get beyond your desk, your cubicle, your 10 by 12 office. You might even have to go beyond your company, the floor you're on, the building you're in, the lobbies at the ground level. We have to start thinking beyond where we sit every single day. So how did all this change and evolution start? Well, we can start looking at a little bit of the beginning of the office. And when you look at some of these images, they're like little Lego pieces, just strewn all over the office. No one really talked to each other back in the 50s and 60s, early 70s. It was very task-focused. I work here. If I want to talk to that guy over there, I'm going to have my secretary take a memo, and I'm going to pass it off down to Jim over there. Jim's going to read it, and he'll talk the same way. And that's how it worked. It was everyone sort of just looked down, looked straight ahead. Technology started changing and shifting, and now the pendulum has swung way over to the other side. Foosball tables, ping pong tables, free food, bar. I want to work there. Barista. These are all trinkets and things, factors and attractors that want to bring people to work, but it hasn't systemically changed how we work or accommodated how we work. So everything has gone to be more open, open, open. Closed office, open office. Activate this, etc. Energize that space. How do we get there? Why do we love this whole sense of open, 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 open all the time? Let's look at the evolution of the modern home. In the 50s and 60s, after the post-World War II track house boom, houses started going up everywhere. And every little house then were little shoe boxes, right? There was a sewing room, the parlor, the den, game room, pantry, whatever. There was a room for every purpose and a purpose for every room. And that's how we were. Formal dining room, formal living room. And then in the 70s and 80s, what happened was what I like to call the great room phenomenon. Everybody wanted a great room. A centralized open space where everyone can kind of hang out, eat, watch TV. Gone were the days a little bit of the formal dining room or the formal living room, except on holidays, special occasions. So we wrapped all the furniture in plastic and left all the dining table set up with china, just in case anybody comes over. But the great room became the centralized core of the home where everybody wanted to hang out. That's where I used to sit and play my video games, in the great room. And then as the 90s and 2000s so on came along, technology began to untether us, right? All of a sudden we decided, well, we can get beyond the great room, beyond our cubicles and offices, and technology is saying, I can work just about anywhere. You know what? I might even bring home a home office and set up a little home office so I can bring work home. It's crazy. But we brought work home. We had our BlackBerries. We took them to the coffee shop. We started working there, right? We started having home offices. I'm that guy in the corner on the right with my Pentium 60, and I'm working away, and it was my home office. The other factor here is generational. And I like to call it the who, why, where, and how generation. So let's start with the baby boomers. I call the baby boomers the who generation. Who works? The man worked. And the workplaces were around the male-dominant workplace. Mahogany corner offices, wood line, blah-de-blah. I mean, that's just the way workplaces were. They were maybe 1 to 2 jobs, pension plans, gold watch. That was that generation. Then there was Gen X. That's me. Gen X, or what I like to call the Y generation. Why are we working? Why isn't everybody working? Why aren't men and women working? The workplace had to evolve one more time to accommodate this shift, to accommodate this evolution. So why are we working? There's no pension plan for me. There's no Social Security at the end of the tunnel for me, right? Then, our dear friends, the millennials. This is what everything is transforming today. The millennials are coming. The millennials are coming. They're here. They're not the future. They're the present. And you know what? In 5 to 10 years, they might be a thing of the past. They'll have families of their own, and we're going to have to change again. They're the where generation because they can pretty much work anywhere. Early adopters to technology. They have no holdbacks. We can work here. We can work there. We can sit right there on a lap. It makes no difference. But watch out, because here comes Gen Z, or what I like to call the how generation. And they're about how we work. They're not about hierarchy. They're about networking, co-working, crowdsourcing. They're about, let's get together, it doesn't matter where, right here, right now, and let's bring everybody in. How they work is incredibly important because what they're working on is a product of who's around them in the space they're in. I have 2 kids, 9 and 11. Boy, do they love Minecraft. They and their friends will sit in a corner, play Minecraft. Everyone's on a this or a whatever device, and they'll sit in the corner and they'll play Minecraft. Microsoft loved Minecraft too. They bought it for $2.5 billion last year. Minecraft as a phenomenon is everyone sort of logs in, gets into this space, and they start building things communally. And they're like, hey, can I have that log or that saw or that thing to build the house? Absolutely, take it. I don't need it. You take it. You use it. You build something. Or let's build something together. What do you think the high score is in Minecraft? There isn't one. They didn't care about a high score. There are no high scores in Minecraft. You know what it was for me when I was a kid? This. All about the high score. It was me against the machine. You go to the pizza place in my town right now, you can go there, it says HAP, 1 million points, my achievement. It's still there. Miss Pac-Man, I can still feel the arthritis. But that's what it was about. It was us against them. So, as the workplace evolves, so what's going to happen? Everything's going to go from closed to open office, or is it going to go from, you know, I can't work here anymore, my office is going to be out of date, this architect on stage is going to design stuff, and I'm going to be wandering around the office with my laptop, I have no place to sit. So what's going to happen? The conference room is going to be booked, and you can't collaborate? Uh-oh. Can't collaborate. I'll text you later. We'll get together. We'll do, lunch, whatever, Google Hangouts, something. We'll figure it out. We have to find a different way. Dunkin' Donuts has found a different way. They had already realized that your conference rooms and the way you collaborate don't work, so they're going to rent conference rooms for you so you can get out of the office and sort of do it differently. Small indications, but movements towards a change. So I've been talking a lot about how. Why is this how important? Why is how important? Everyone seems to be working just fine. Everyone raised their hands. Oh, I work in an office. Everything's great. So why is this how important? How is important because we need to create that unique environment that allows you to succeed, create, play, think the way you do. Right now, you sit in a cubicle in a room or in an office just like almost everybody else here, probably. So nothing is personal to you about your stylistic method of working. So we're going to have to evolve. The Z's are going to come, and they're going to make us evolve. They're going to make us shift. That shift is forthcoming. So you're not going to be set free roaming around in your office. You're not going to have to sit next to, coughs loud person, or I can still hear you through your headphones, dude, or, or laughs weird person. It's going to be okay, because it's going to be about an open form of collaboration that's fundamentally rooted in this sort of free movement. So it's better than any corner office. The most important thing is going to be your attention. Your attention is the most valuable thing. We have to create these unique spaces, evolve these spaces, so your attention is the most valuable thing. Maybe you're going to be working at the infinite desk. You can work anywhere in the office. It goes on forever. It doesn't matter. My colleagues at my office just recently did a space that's all about free address. You can sit anywhere you want, from closed office to complete free address. CEO too. Your office could look like this, where you have certain compartments or zones. It'll be about the zones and where you work, because those zones will suit the best way that you will function and collaborate. Maybe your office will look like the bar. Maybe your office will look like a living room. Or maybe your office will look like some crazy Moroccan den, who knows. But at the end of the day, we will have to evolve, and we will have to change, and we will have to shift to accommodate this, because it'll be about our best work. Because your best work won't come from the best room. Your best work will come from how you work in the room you have. Thank you.